Am I hard to hear?
Huh?
Am I hard to hear?
They said we all are hard to hear, so I put one here and one there.
Well, yeah. One of the reasons was that they didn't have a formula. They had been this one truck in particular, I can really hear it. And he shifts 9 times by the time he goes from
All right, 6 o'clock. I call the Egan City regular meeting, June 17th, 2026, meeting to order. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. There's been a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I have a motion to approve the May 20th, 2026 regular city minutes.
I make a motion to approve May 20th meeting minutes.
There's been a motion. Do I have a second? Been a motion and a second to approve the May 20, 2026 regular city minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on items not on the agenda. If the item requires council action, it will be scheduled for an upcoming meeting session is limited to 30 minutes, allowing 3 minutes per citizen. This will be the only time that the public will get to speak during the meeting. Is there any public comment?
My name is Ted School, and I bought the bank, 1900.
Welcome.
And what I'd like to do is extend off of the line on that bank building, little portico to connect to what's a carry house, which is a garage on the bottom and then a flat on the top. So I've drawn a map, so if it makes sense, I didn't know there were all these rules, what I had to do on that. What I'd like to do is to maybe have it rezoned for residential, and then I can add on and restore part of the bank that's kind of broken down on the south side.
So we would need to schedule a special meeting, correct?
I have the zoning book right here, and I'm not very well versed in it, just to let you know. I do know that conditional use permits can rezone something for a very extended period of time. I know the last one I looked in was done like 20 years ago from residential to commercial. In the book, it says, I don't know if we'll be able to do it next week, because first you have to have a conditional use permit application. I have to publish notice in the newspaper for 10 days prior to a public hearing. Mail applicant letter, notifying the applicant of upcoming board of adjustment meeting 10 days prior to the public hearing. So I don't know if we can do this.
Doesn't he
Next
also have to, doesn't he have to get, petitions from the landowners around him?
That usually is a thing too, yes.
Pretty sure.
I think it's a petition.
You'll have to get a petition with so many of the landowners, surrounding landowners have to sign,
Sign off.
sign off on it too.
And is that a standardized form, or do I have to create it?
It should have a form where, I know before people just have them go around, you have your drawing or whatever you want to, and then they just sign it too. So.
I only know one name, Jane.
And then the other one would be the city.
And then Kathy,
Yeah.
and then you guys. There, we introduced you to half of them.
Yeah, we definitely. Megan can definitely get the ball rolling and look up stuff and be in contact with you. So yeah, we can start she can start looking at stuff and we can be in contact.
Be sure to get Megan's phone number
Right.
for the office so that she can call you if she has information. You can call her.
She has my number now.
Yeah. Try to get that too.
Yeah.
That's possible, yeah.
You have anything else? No, that's it. Pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Just, okay.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck. I will email you that condition later.
That sounds good. I just want to make sure.
Right.
Is there any other public comment?
I've seen in the old minutes, talk about using the funds when we put it down for sidewalks. Is there any plans on any of that yet? As far as what location the sidewalks?
Where did you see that?
In the minutes from last
Minutes
meeting.
from last meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's, could use it for sidewalks, could use it for other
Yeah.
stuff.
So no, we don't have anything.
Okay, if I could make a recommendation, and it was brought up by someone else also, the sidewalk from the gazebo west on the south side of the road, and also basically from the old post office west also. It's really torn up in both of those places. It's really uneven, unsafe. Okay. And speaking of sidewalks and grass and everything, whose responsibility is it to kind of maintain? I mean, I'm trying to do it now, since I own the bank, or not bank, post office. I don't know if it's shared responsibility or how does that go as far as maintaining the weeds and all that
feel like it would be the owner of the property with the right of way.
I mean, is it written somewhere though?
I'd have to look in the.
Okay.
But I noticed there was weeds in the street, so
Yes.
that becomes us.
City, yeah.
So from the curb up would be the owner. Thank you.
Or I had something.
What public comment?
I almost forgot, the water faucet in the women's bathroom over at the community center is dripping quite profusely yet, so.
Did that just get replaced?
No,
Okay.
every time I go over there, it's not, and it's so. It's like,
Right, any other public comment?
One more thing, I wanted to, because of the 250th birthday, I want to thank everybody for everybody's help and getting that going and letting us use the building and the electricity and water and all of that. So thank you, everybody. Because I think it was a big success.
Was
Any other public comment? Seeing no public comment, moving on to zoning, we have nothing. Moving on to old business, open meetings complaint. Paul and Reed.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Board of Trustees. I am here this evening to, how should I put it? Ponder how I wish to proceed with a current, or I should say, even a past action of this board relative to open meetings, or a set of open meetings violation complaints that have been forwarded to my office here this last year. I did take a look at those reports. I did forward those on to the South Dakota Open Meetings Commission. As you're all aware, I believe we had a meeting prior to that actual hearing of the Open Meetings Commission, agreeing to stipulate to, for lack of a better term, an admission to the violations, two of the violations in particular, and put yourself out for whatever disposition the Open Meetings Commission would decide. I didn't attend that meeting. The only one here in the board, I believe, who attended that meeting via telephone was Trustee Tenite. And based on the comments made during that hearing, the board decided to send all the materials back to my office for further clarification as to how I wish to proceed. Now, what I would say historically is this board used to be very seasoned as to how to handle open meetings commissions. You had a guy by the name of John Steele who had served for almost 28, 30 years on this out of Plankington, and just a real seasoned board that went away and then came back. And I think really what we're looking at is the board is trying to figure out what they're supposed to do as to open meetings commission violations. But as I've discussed with Trustee Tenite, and as I would indicate to all of you, is as a prosecutor, I can prosecute every offense that comes on my desk, or I can settle by choosing which outcomes are the best in the best interest of the community, best interest of the defendant, best interest of serving justice. For example, you could easily have, and again, this is not your situation, but it is purely illustrative. Say you've got somebody committing a criminal offense for looking at things that they shouldn't be on the internet. Each time they look at one, that's a criminal offense. I could put them in prison for years and years and years. I've had ones where I've had 100-some charges on there. But at the end of the day, the judges, the judicial system looks at me and goes, do we really want to continue to go down this road, or will one or two or three suffice? And so when I received 34 complaints, I didn't anticipate that all of them would go, and frankly, I think there was perhaps a good discussion in this room regarding settlement of all those complaints for two of those offenses. And I think the Open Meetings Commission serves a very important purpose, which is to educate everybody in the state, as well as other government entities, to follow the laws. We've got agendas, we post them in the doors. We've got meetings, we give 24 hours notice. If we're going to do X, Y, Z, we follow and adhere to South Dakota codified law from 1 to the end of the books. And obviously you're all familiar with 125, and I know that you're counsel and you've all looked at those things as well. And so I'm confused as to how and why they sent it back, but I guess I'm looking at you this evening to go, all right, if I am going to send this back to them, I still happen to respectfully think there were violations that occurred here in the city of Egan. And I respectfully contend that I think you all acknowledge that there are violations that have occurred and are turning yourselves over for judgment by the Open Meetings Commission. And I happen to like the stipulation that your attorney had prepared, that you had signed off on. And I would propose going forward something along those lines, because as the Open Meetings Commission admitted, not everything that was complained about is stuff that they can adjudicate on. But that's kind of where I'm at. I think it's in the best interest of the public to acknowledge an error, to say that we're correcting our ways, and to go about handling that. Now, there's some confusion from the Open Meetings Commission as to whether or not I need to file a criminal complaint. I don't really want to, I certainly can, but my criminal complaint, I think, would essentially encapsulate those things that you'd already agreed to as a board of trustees to take accountability for. And whatever date they have is, I think the lesson learned here, and I've spoken with their attorney, is it would sure be good if we had representation. I plan on attending. Visa, whether or not it's in person, I'd rather not drive up here, but attending via phone at least, so that way I'm available to the Open Meetings Commission to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. But that's really all I have to say this evening. Again, I do think that there was good work done by the individuals who sent the complaint to me. I think, as a matter of fact, compared to prior open meetings issues that I've ever had in Moody County, they're very well researched. But I think at the end of the day, I think the lesson learned here is abide by the laws. We'll take our lump and we'll move forward. But that's just how I'm seeing it from my side of your table. But I don't want to monopolize your time. Please feel free to throw questions at me or however you wish.
I guess when I spoke to the open meeting, at our meeting, it was discussed, hey, we'll plead guilty and be done with it, take our lumps. But then somehow that translated into only two things. And I think there's more than just two incidents of things here that people should be aware of. Plus there's the non-open meeting things that need to be looked at that haven't been. So I guess my question, I think it has gotten better, and communication with the board has gotten better as far as trying to respect each other's opinion or input. So I guess I don't know where to go from here. I know there were a lot of complaints, and that's why I and Jerome wrote the people would come to the meeting and say we're not following the law, and it would get dismissed. And I don't think we should be dismissing the people that we're representing when they come in and say we're not following the law.
I guess my thoughts are, we discussed this at a meeting and we had a decision, and then you went back behind their backs and changed the decision. So we had it decided as a board, and
We did decide as a board, there was never a mention of only two complaints.
yes, it was. That's why we drew it up that way. And we agreed on then two complaints to take that fall for the minutes and the agenda. And we all agreed on it that night.
I agreed, yes, that we were pleading guilty. There was not two items at that meeting. Jerome didn't hear two items. I didn't hear two items. It was, you guys, you need to plead guilty, take your lumps, and let's move on. And then it changed to two. So, and I didn't go behind your back. As someone who recorded this, they asked if I was going to be at the meeting. Gee, as a recording person, I should probably be there to testify as to why we did it.
Well, I think the board needs to decide as well. I mean, I know there's concerns about the amount of money and time involved in these things, and you need to decide. I made the decision not to attend because of the stipulation that I thought was an agreement. I wouldn't have drafted it. I represent the board. I wouldn't have drafted it and worked with them to try to resolve it in the most there's, to go through all these things during a hearing is one thing, but to try and resolve it in the most cost-effective way, I think has value as well. And that's how I went about it. That's how I worked with the Assistant AG's office on it. And Paul and I have talked about it to try and make this as efficient as possible while acknowledging that there was violations. I mean, in my mind, the board needs to make a call and needs to take a vote on whether we go forward with the stipulation or you're entitled to a hearing, we're entitled to withdraw this stipulation, and that's the board's right as well. I certainly wouldn't have went down that path if I didn't think the board was on board with it. But again, I'm trying to look at it from an efficiency standpoint. I think everything has went a lot better since Megan's been on board. And it's difficult to do everything right all the time. This is an acknowledgement, there's a reprimand, and that was my intent, to try and resolve it. I think if the board wants to go forward with the stipulation, we need to have a vote on that, and we'll take down the yays and nays on it. And if not, with no motion, we just move forward with I need some guidance with the Open Meetings Commission from the board as a whole, but that doesn't mean you all agree. But in speaking again with Paul, he thought the stipulation was a good deal. And he thought I tried to resolve it in the best way possible. There's no one way or right way or wrong way to necessarily handle it. But with the amount of money that we're spending on it, I don't think it's necessary to go back out and spend more time on it. That's my opinion. But you don't have to follow my advice either. The board needs to make that call because it's up to the discretion of the board. And I'll do what I can to make sure that the board's direction as a whole is being followed. That's who my responsible client is the board.
I would also offer, based on Mr. Maltby's representation, that, it's no secret who the other community was. It's Ward. You can go look at all the opinions, they're public. But Ward took its lump and Ward moved on because Ward needed to. What's the purpose of relitigating the past, spending all that negative energy and all that negative time in Ward when they've got constituents and a public to serve them? From my perspective as a state's attorney, I am not your attorney. I'm not any city attorney anymore. I used to be back in the old days, but I don't represent any cities. But I acknowledge you are a government and you need to function efficiently by serving your people. So the final thing I would offer this is this. Unlike a third Article 3 court, circuit court, magistrate court, those kind of things, the Open Meetings Commission, if you look at the statute, is not a body for which they are judicially reviewed. So if you make your arguments to them and they go, you're out, we're not going to find any fault, you don't get a chance to go to circuit court. You don't get a chance to go to any other court. So I think if I was to deal with them, and again, this is just my 2 bits from where I'm sitting in my unique position, I would be more inclined to go in and say, on the front end, Austin, Emily, all of you here, this is what we have agreed to, this is what we prepared to do. Please mea culpa, we'll take our lumps, and then we'll move on. But again, that is just me. Again, I do think that there were some legitimate things. I think you all acknowledge there were some legitimate things in there for which some education needed to be taken. But those are my 2 bits.
Sorry, no. So I make a motion that we continue down the current path, that we accept the stipulations that were agreed to. Did I do it right?
2 stipulations.
Yeah.
With
That's my
the
motion.
2 items, one being related to the agenda not being posted on the website at least 24 hours before the meeting. And there was no timely publishing of the minutes, both concerning the January 7th meeting. That's under paragraph 5 of the stipulation.
So I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I guess my understanding at that last meeting was that they all pleaded guilty to all 32 complaints. And that's the way you said it at the time. You would write it up and give it to the peer, the people in peer. But it turns out you only had 2 on there.
I'm sorry for the miscommunication, if that's what you thought.
Well, it wasn't
I believe there's some on there that aren't even violations, but
well,
I know there are some that needed to be addressed.
like I said, when we left the meeting that night, my impression was that you had said you would represent us as a board with their guilty plea for
All of our guilty pleas, Jerome, you're part of it.
Pardon?
You're part of the guilty plea, yes. You're part of it. It didn't just go to 2 of us. It went to all of the boards to plead guilty.
No. It was for the ones that were on the,
The board as a whole, we found guilty, well, we found it with a violation of the open meetings laws. There's no criminal guilt associated with what's happening in front of the Open Meetings Commission. If there was a complaint being made, the complaint would come from the state's attorney, and that's not what the Open Meetings Commission, that's not the function they serve as far as our guilt or innocence. We're admitting wrongdoing on behalf of the board, and that we violated, and there's 2 violations that we admitted to. The reason we did that was to try to treat it the most efficient way possible, to not take up more time and add more expense to the budget overall. It was an efficiency thing as well.
So call for a vote.
Any other discussion? There's been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So as education, what I will do is I will advance back to the Open Meetings Commission, a complaint that I'll prepare. And the complaint will encapsulate the 2 items indicated there in the stipulation. And when they have their hearing, I will certainly attend via telephone and would encourage participation as well from all of you.
So how will we know about that meeting? Does it go to Megan and you'll have to notify us, or?
Well, actually, that's a fantastic question because I wasn't even notified. I just came upon it by reading the newspaper. So I will reach out to that attorney who represents the Open Meetings Commission.
And I'll let Megan know as well,
Thank
so
you.
that the
Yeah.
board is aware.
And I'm good at sending stuff out.
I missed.
We do have the dates, it's early August, I just don't have that for me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just for the minutes, did we get 5 ayes or did we get 3 ayes?
We got 3.
Okay, and the other 2 were nays?
But nays
No,
are
they
the
didn't even
state.
They abstained.
Okay.
Abstain.
Is the word is abstain? Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
Mine's almost done. What can I say?
All right, moving on. Tree dump.
Have we, I guess my question is, because people keep asking around town, have we got anywhere on what the state will allow us to do on digging, on location, anything like that?
You know, because we have a contract for Flanders this summer, and we decided we were gonna do it in the fall at that meeting. And I'm still looking into stuff, and the way things are going at other towns that I'm finding out, Madison and Garrettson, they're having issues, the same issues like we had of people dumping stuff, they're closing theirs. Everybody's going to a fee now. Flanders even has a fee besides the month of April and October. So if we're gonna dig a new hole, we're gonna, like I said at the meeting before, we're gonna have to hire somebody to sit down there. And then are we going to only allow people to dump for free for 2 months? I mean, it's come up in this board multiple times that this city's not making any money on anything. I mean, so So maybe we need to start charging for a tree dump, and if we're gonna spend the money on digging a hole, and if it's gonna get abused, then have to pay somebody down there. I mean, you guys wanted ideas and thoughts of other communities. Well, Flandreau, I found out, yeah, you only get 2 months free there, and then it's a fee every time you go. I mean, we're pretty fortunate that we're only paying a flat fee, and we can go every time it's open. Garrettson, they're only gonna open theirs for 4 hours a day now, or 4 hours a month now, because they gotta use Madison, they just gotta use, they're having a fee for theirs. So it goes back to, are we gonna make a tree dump for the city, and then it gets abused, and then we have the consequences as a city again, and we eat the cost of digging one out? I mean, right now, like I said last year, fire department $500. Then we were renting at $300, so I mean, we have $1,000 in with that down there every year. So $1,000 to haul our stuff to Flandreau, I mean, it's pretty convenient.
Okay, now this $500 for Flandreau to burn down there. We're already paying them $4,000 a year. What's that money for?
That's our contract if anything happens in the town.
They still charge people in town too if they come in.
I guess I'm not.
Well,
I mean, we
what I'm
have
getting at-
a spot for a
getting
tree dump that we paid for already. So why aren't we using it all summer? And we find a solution. Why are we focusing on it the first month of the summer
No,
when?
well, shouldn't we be working towards a solution
I've
instead of waiting
I've
until
talked to some
fall?
contractors and
Yeah,
that,
I'm
and,
just
I mean,
asking for an update is all,
But-
so people know.
I got a couple numbers from Pete, gave me a number from a guy he talked to over in North Rapids.
So can we dig? Do we have to check with the state before we go and dig a
The big-
hole to
The
see?
biggest thing we gotta find out is with the state and the DNR is if we have to have that separate pile of a tree and a, not recyclable.
The grass
Yeah,
clippings.
so that'd be the biggest thing, so.
I,
I
you'll-
haven't reached out to them yet.
I just put it on the agenda, so it's on the meeting, people can hear it, they know that we're working towards a solution, and that we haven't just ignored it.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, it was like after we had that meeting, it was just weird, like on Facebook, I saw Madison post something about their tree dump being abused, and then Garrettson had one on there, it was like, we're the only small community that's, and then knowing that we had to send out a thing, because, some people asked me if they had to pay when they went to Flandreau because it was only the 2 months that are free there, and I said, no, because we get in for our fee no matter what that. But
So
yeah.
maybe we can do another update next month as to where we're at in the
Yeah, try
process.
getting hold of
So
the
we're not,
state and see what
we're
they
not
have to do.
like trying to play catch up in the fall, you know, and people know that we're working towards the solution.
Has anybody talked to the guy that represents Jones?
I haven't talked to Neil lately, no. He's kind of waiting for us to get it burned, and Don has been, with the weather and that, they've just been hesitant on burning out there too, so. I can reach out to Neil again here and see what the status is, but I know the last time I talked to him, it wasn't gonna more than likely happen.
Yeah, I was just wondering on an update where we were on that.
Any other questions on the tree dump? Moving on, pump house, fire department.
I think, I didn't have the minutes when I asked Megan to put that on there, but, so we're gonna train, someone had approached me about Trent Fire Department,
Trent was here on Monday night.
okay, and
They
something
brought
about the,
They brought a new hose and a reel and they installed it.
okay,
I talked to them. They went through with all their people there. The biggest thing that they asked for, and talked to Mike, and there's a light in there. There's no light in there, so it's completely dark in there, so.
I don't know why it was taken out, there was actually one in there.
Yeah, so it's gonna be
someone took it.
seeing how what the electrical is in there and get a light in there. That's the biggest thing they asked for. And,
Did Flandreau come? Like
not on Monday night. It was just Trent here. Trent had, I think, 9 guys here.
So So, my concern is if we're paying Flandreau, maybe their guys should come.
Yeah, I would say
They
most
should
of
all
them,
know how to know.
yeah, most of the planning guys have been in there, I mean,
Okay.
main guys, so.
I mean, that night we had that fire, I was down there, around 1:30 in the morning. So they all got familiar with where the switches was.
Good.
The other thing that the Trenton Fire Department brought up was, possibly they were gonna go down and check at the river to see if that could be a secondary source, or, would try making an agreement with Steinhauer, to use the gravel pit.
There,
In case if the pump house ever can't keep up and if they need to have two spots, so.
yeah, there used to be an agreement with John about using the gravel pit. Cause then they could put in their drop tanks, yeah.
So, but otherwise, yeah, they were all, like I said, they brought a new hose and took our old hose and,
Okay.
they were in there. And as of right now, our plan is to just leave it unlocked, so we don't have to have 50 keys.
It was never in a block.
Yeah. So,
And there's no way a kid can fall into something there, or?
there's a padlock on it, but it's not locked right now.
Okay,
So,
I would hate for a kid to fall in a well hole or something.
you would have to pry open the doors.
There's a welded
Yeah.
door on the outside. On the inside, I don't think there is an access.
No,
You know, it's the one outside of the building, but that's got a supposedly welded on.
well, there's concrete there.
Yeah.
So,
But I talked to Flandreau several years ago about coming down and going through that so that they would be familiar, but they just passed it off at the time. They never did come back down.
Yeah, I can talk to Don too and see if they wanna. On
Well,
one of
they
their,
got-
on one of
They
their.
got a different fire chief now, so maybe he'll. work
Don
with it.
Peters is the fire chief now.
Yeah,
So.
but he wasn't then.
So maybe, maybe, well, if they come down and burn, I can take a break and come up and look at it then, so.
you could probably get a hold of Jason Land.
Yeah, that's Coleman. I mean, Trent didn't even notify me that they were here, and I was coming through town, and I swung in there, so I mean, and they're like, yeah, we were just gonna replace this hose and just show everybody, and
Oh, good.
they had 3 rigs here, and I talked to them for a while, and yeah, everything was good with them.
That's good.
But, we can either, does anybody on the board care who we have somebody down and look at getting electrical? Yes. I just call Patriot or.
Yeah.
And have them get a light installed in there.
Shouldn't be too hard to put a light in.
No, I mean, maybe we can, I mean, look, I don't know how bad the electrical was in
Well,
there.
there's a big
Well-
box in there.
They took the electrical out away from the light, so it's gonna have to be wired.
And you're gonna call Patriot?
I can text down there or something, yeah. Alright, moving on.
I think Ellen had.
We're not gonna,
Sorry.
we were advised not to have any public comment after public comment now. Moving on, new business. City property liquidation. Been discussions of stuff that we need to get rid of that's been in corners and around here. I was hoping that the, county had their sale this year, but it's every 2 years, that was last year. So, kind of just start making a list if you're around and see what we need to get rid of. I know the big thing Mike and I really feel that we don't need is the box blade that got purchased years ago. Now that we hired Brad to blade the roads, I mean, I don't think we need it, but that's something I think Megan said she might have found a better surplus for like equipment like that for us that we can sell. I wouldn't want to sell that on auction in Flandreau that we won't get. But like all the old generators and stuff that we don't need, that stuff that we have to surplus that we can't just junk,
Right.
we start making a pile of it, and then next year we get it all on that
On
sale.
that auction.
And we got that big generator that's on that trailer down in that little building.
Yeah.
Probably ever be used again.
That's
What I
it.
put in front of you is that, I think it's a state, it's state
Sounds
government,
here.
and Nancy
Or
mentioned,
here.
it's state governments to sell to other state
State
governments. So, and we can possibly look on that for the, fleet that you're talking about.
We've used that before.
I just think that would be better to sell that box plate, because it's practically new. I mean, instead of putting it on just a.
Well, yeah.
And I'd like to see that mower that we got go to get a disc mower in place of it.
Oh, for the tractor?
Yeah, it'd be a lot
That would
safer
work
for
better.
the new ones.
It just works better all around.
We had talked before about selling the big snowplow and maybe getting something a little
That would be another
smaller.
thing, something that we don't have to have a CDL for.
Right, Purple Wave has, I was just through there not too long ago, and they said it's time, this is the time when the big snowplows and things are moving, they're doing their trades, so it might be worth a phone call to them to come up and look, they take care of, it doesn't cost us to sell it, it costs a purchaser, so, but then they'd also help us find what's more appropriate for us.
What's that place?
Purple Wave Auction, it's down Kansas.
Is that the one we talked about?
Mhm.
It's like,
Yep. Purple Wave Auction, it's down by Kansas City somewhere.
And I think it's a government property.
Yeah, they do all where you have to post so many times and they handle all of that. We just call them, they come here, they take pictures, they take videos, they do whatever, and then they'll get it listed for us.
I had a citizen mention, we have a whole bunch of chemical over here, and that really doesn't necessarily auction off, but is it something maybe, a lot of it's bug spray people use in gardens. I know John Steinhauer bought a whole bunch of stuff.
That stuff was put in here as through the government.
Okay,
And it's to be used for emergencies. In other words, if you've got, say, a tornado comes through and wipes out half the town, you've got a place for people to come and stay.
oh no, I'm not talking
No,
about
this is
pots.
All
I'm
the
talking about-
spray,
Huh?
all the spray that
Oh,
got
that
bought,
junk
yeah,
back there?
it just needs to be disposed of.
Can we
That
take
should have
that
never
down
been in here in
to,
the first place.
someone take it down to Brookings landfill and just have them do chemical disposal?
I thought you
on
were
most of
talking
that?
about the cotton.
Yes.
No, all the stuff on the table out there, the
Yeah, that
stuff that when Elko went on sale. Yeah, load
that
them up.
big sale there.
Yeah, we can try getting rid of that.
Do I need a motion to get rid of that, or is this discussion good enough?
You need a motion, it's,
Not for the chemicals and old paint and stuff.
And right now, we're just gonna be looking, maybe get a list of stuff that we wanna get rid of.
Yep.
Maybe contact this Purple Wave in this place and.
Yep.
Maybe, talk about it, just finalize it here at the next meeting.
Yeah, and Purple Wave said they would even come to our meeting if we needed them to, so.
Okay.
yeah, biggest thing is we have to have a backup plan right away. if
Right.
We sell it.
Well, and I think that's
Yeah.
doable. And
Something
if
that
they,
we tell them that we need to have something and then they're looking for that. as
they're
they're
looking
selling.
at, as we're resolving, yeah.
Alright, moving on. Fine fee schedule for ordinance work enforcement.
I asked Megan about this, a couple years ago, before I got on the board, there was talk about giving Troy the fee schedule, so when the sheriff's in town, they can actually write tickets based on our ordinances with the fees, and the only one that Megan was able to find was from 2017. So I don't think we can do much with this tonight, and I did speak briefly with Reed about how the process works, if you wanna explain a little.
First of all, making sure you've got an approved and recent schedule of fines. Again, probably not tonight because it wasn't officially on the agenda as board action. But get that done and then, and see what Troy's willing to do as far as writing tickets is concerned. If you've got to take the next step regarding abandoned cars or some houses, That's probably gonna take my involvement, because I don't think Paul will do any of that for you. So that involves, filing a complaint, getting them served, they have an opportunity to appear, and a hearing is scheduled. Judge will make a call.
But you would have to appear, right?
Correct. So you have to pick and choose. Issue, again, becomes, you have to pick and choose when you want me involved because of the cost. And I unfortunately, you bill for your time, and it can be time consuming to get through the process. So if there's warning letters being sent and there's no response, and you've got a couple issues that you need to handle, kind of pick them off one at a time. I would not do 10 at a time.
What was that? You said something about another town hired someone to help them with the code stuff.
Yes, the city of Gary hired a company that does code enforcement for situations. They'll send the letters. They don't do the complaints, but they'll send the letters and stay on top of them. I know that the city does some, but they also have hired somebody in the past. I don't know. It hasn't come up for a while, so I don't know if it's going good, or they just started sending letters, having the finance officer send the letters again. And by letters, I mean warning letters. I'm sure the ordinances, I haven't looked at the particular ones that you're talking about, but the ordinance will say, look, you have to send a letter warning them, saying you have 30 days or the city's going to do it. Some of it is lawn mowing. Well, that's easier to handle than
So like some
an
of these
abandoned house,
abandoned house.
vehicle.
Right.
So we hired, had to be like six years ago, we hired that Mike Olson.
Okay.
That was that code
He was
enforcement out of Aberdeen.
Aberdeen.
He did stuff good for a year, and then, it ended up being costly then.
Right.
Then we started taking it over ourselves, that, we started sending out the letters. He cleaned up the town and then we just started doing it ourselves, because it ended up being.
It does get costly, yeah.
All of it does. And
Yeah.
it's just the nature of it. So
There's
I just know that's an option. That's a middle one that it's not.
there's certain things you have to follow when it comes to writing up that type of a complaint.
Correct.
You can't just go and say, hey, your yard is too high, we're gonna mow it.
Yeah.
You've got to follow a procedure.
Right, and typically that complaint's going to come from a citizen, and the citizen will have to be involved because we have to prove that there's an issue. Dogs barking's difficult, but an abandoned house or a abandoned car that's been sitting there for a period of months isn't as hard, but you still need somebody to sign the complaint.
Mhm.
And then it's time consuming and expensive.
Right.
We can
So-
certainly talk more about that. Sorry, I have to run to
No,
that
you're fine.
board meeting.
But maybe we can look at the fee schedule and talk about that next month, possibly.
Yeah, if you wanna put that on the agenda for next month, Megan, that we, get all the fees and.
That and maybe our ordinances to go with them. Let's just kind of co-opt them, look at the ordinances and the fees.
And it wouldn't,
Go ahead.
sorry, it wouldn't hurt talking to the sheriff, whoever sends his guys over, finding out what the fee schedule, what's the easiest way for them to come into town and help with enforcement to see, or maybe you have.
I have.
Okay.
I talked to Troy Wellman a couple weeks ago because I was curious about this because Michelle brought it up to me, and I love talking to people. So. One thing Troy, first of all, wants is he doesn't like ordinances that say up to. He just wants a dollar amount. And second, when it comes to us, the sheriff writing tickets, for instance, speeding and stuff that the state usually writes tickets for, I asked him, does any of the small towns around here do that? And he goes, no. And it's like, do you know how to do that? And he goes, I would have no clue. So I asked him also, so we need to find someone that actually, a town that does it effectively. And that's something maybe to look into also. But also, yes, if we want to prosecute any of these, we couldn't go through the state's attorney, we would need codes. So.
Good. Thank you guys. Sorry, I gotta run.
Anything else on that?
No, I thought we should address that because, fireworks, there's been somebody shooting mortar rounds like every night, it seems like for a month of Sundays and, it's against our ordinance, but the fee,
Yeah, I think Troy's other issue is the revolving door of deputies that he has. That,
yeah.
like, we give him a list and then it's a new deputy 2 months later and it's like, okay. So, but, yeah.
And you'd also have to get a way for them to, once they issue that ticket, to get it back to the city office, so there needs to be a procedure. It's pretty much create a procedure from scratch, because they don't do this, with, the sheriff's department. But it's not impossible.
Do the tickets, like if they wrote a ticket here in town, doesn't it just go right to like Paul Lewis or the court system?
State, yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Lewis is the one. But for us taking the money for the ticket, Paul Lewis will not cost us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Paul Lewis is for the state. It'll go, that's who he represents.
Okay. I'm tracking. All right.
Moving on, committee reports, compliance and code enforcement.
I have a few on the list already. I'll get with Megan this week. There's a few cars with no plates and just some junky yards, but some have really cleaned up this spring, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I'll get with you in the next week or so with the list, so you can send out the letters.
And we have mowed twice, two of the kind of people that don't take care of their lawns, once in one and one the other.
And I know we noticed, I asked to have a notice put on the corner house that's for sale down there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It was getting really long, and as soon as Megan put on a notice, it was mowed the day before, we were going in and gave them a 48-hour notice.
So the 48-hour notice worked really well.
Good.
Oh, and we got the bags, so we can just put it right on the doors.
Doors.
So that's nice.
That
Hang it on there.
The only thing I would like to do is, and I was talking to Megan about this, is before we jump right to a letter, can we put like a yellow hanger on their door that says, you have 7 days, it writes in duplicate, or, and just put a letter on there. I hate to mail the certified letters right away, and that's what we were doing for the longest time, so I think people may be.
This last time she just went and taped it on her door.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if we can just, and I could help tape them on the doors too, but give them that notice before we go to the certified letter, just to save a little more money too.
Yeah, because the technically we don't have to give the 48-hour notice anymore since it was published in the paper. But
no, I mean,
but
I'm talking about plates and
plates and all.
yeah, those things.
Yeah.
Putting a notice on the
Yeah.
door saying you're in violation of this ordinance and you have 7 days to clean up your yard or correct it, and then we'll go into the next phase.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
I would like to do that. I think that's probably a better approach.
Give them some courtesy.
Give them some courtesy, and I think that will maybe make things less combative.
Yeah.
I think they kind of worked with, they're giving that 48-hour notice for the lawn, because honestly, they were trying to sell the house, so I just think they have that around.
Right.
And
So
maybe a neighbor saw it.
back to code and compliance. This whole 8,000 cars in our yard because we put historic plates on them, so now they're good. Can we look at that ordinance and change that a little bit?
Doesn't that ordinance say they have to be operational?
Oh, yes.
But do you know the ordinance number?
Not off the top of my head, but I think maybe we should look at that and take away all that extra leeway. There's so much leeway on that. And it's just, I had a conflict with one person who caught me on Main Street screaming and hollering at me because I walked by the yard and was looking. I was just out for a walk and I was just looking, and I suppose you're going to try and get rid of my cars, and they all run and they all have historic plates and blah, blah. And
You're compliant, huh?
and they're compliant, but it's kind of I think maybe our ordinance needs to be a little stricter on 8 million cars in your yard and some of those.
Well, half of them are out in the street right away anyway, which, you know, can get to be a problem too, especially when they're not licensed.
So Megan, maybe we can look at that ordinance next month too and tighten that up just a little. The ordinance people they're still doing legal review and they've asked a few questions and I've sent stuff and they
So I
said,
was just gonna ask how that
yeah,
was going.
they're still flowing and it just takes time.
When
'Cause
you get time, just email me the ordinance.
I will.
Or the ordinance itself. It might be on our website.
Yeah.
I have updated a couple, as I'm working with ordinances, like the mowing one and certain ordinances, if I notice it's out of date on the website, I have been updating them. So, just be aware of that.
So that's kind of where my issue comes in with code and compliance is there's still places that look horrible. And there are two places that we need to, it's gonna cost money, but we're gonna have to do something with them because of the rodent and varmint population coming in and out of them. But
Moving on, maintenance and streets. Start with maintenance. Last Wednesday, the company from Wisconsin was here. We got the siren up and going. They got here about 7 o'clock and didn't leave till 10:30. They were awfully kind that they didn't blow it at 10:30 when they got done. We were able to do a test with the switches and they could see the lights light up there. So the big test will be on this coming Monday. I think it should be that they should go up. I think it's
is it the first and third or I don't remember.
Yeah, it didn't go off this Monday, and I checked with Landrew to make sure theirs didn't go off and theirs didn't go off. So I was like, okay, so.
Maybe it is the first. So everybody listen for the sirens on Monday.
It should be working. It
I
needed.
thought they only did it once a month.
No, it's twice.
What did he say? He found wrong batteries, wrong breakers.
So the batteries were wrong in it. The batteries worked, but they replaced the batteries in there. The ground wire needed to be stapled all the way up. The pulley that was broke. The what?
The belt was
Yeah, the belt was shot. So
you know, the switches out here, they should be key switches, not just on.
yeah, so he's actually getting us a full quote on getting these switches replaced out here and everything. And he suggested that we do a yearly maintenance on it too. It's never been
Okay.
it hasn't been maintenance for quite a few years. The only thing he had to do was chop some trees down to get his truck in. So, but yeah, like I said, he was here last Wednesday, and he basically they are the only company that covers. He covers Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Nebraska. They're about the only company, so they try doing a whole thing in South Dakota when they come through. So we were kind of on his time schedule. He was in a town an hour away and he called me. Initially, he was supposed to be here at 4, and he didn't get here till 7:30. So I was like, well, we need it done. Otherwise, it's going to be another 2-3 months before he gets here. So it should be up and fixed. And like I said, they are going to send us a quote for a yearly service and then updating the box so we don't just have toggle switches out there and that.
Do you know when they're sending it? Are they gonna send it to the Egan City?
Yeah. Streets. So we had Cole here 2 Fridays ago that we've been using just to go through and see what updates they suggested before we get our other quotes. Again, they are really pleased with how the seal coat has been holding up. We were one of their test dummies on that new seal coat that they use in the city of Egan, and it's what they're using everywhere.
Right.
He felt like our seal coat has another 2 years to hold up our roads, basically. So we went through with him and he looked at what roads he felt like would be the worst in the town to put overlays or patches on. They come down to doing the road over here with the new houses on it. That's what is it, Prospect? I think. Yeah, Prospect. He gave us 3 or 4 quotes here on different options. Otherwise, we do all of First Street. No matter what, there is 2 spots on First Street that need to get patched no matter what. The spot just outside of Blue Jays there, and then the spot that goes into the highway. That would be patches no matter what you suggested. So the question is that I'm asking, I know we have new houses over here.
The road you're talking about is one at like Blue Jays Corner that goes up that way?
Yeah, it goes up to Jake's and the 2 new houses
The
there.
2 new
and
houses, okay.
Kathy lives there. That road is fairly bad. They suggested to overlay the whole thing too. Is that something that we want to keep a tar road, or do we want to
Well, I think we kind of promised
grind it,
them
or
we would asphalt it, you know,
it's
after,
asphalt now, but yeah.
that we would
Yeah.
do it after their house was done. We had assured them that that was gonna get done, so I don't think we can
Yeah.
back out on that.
And that was one that we decided we weren't doing until the building was done.
So the other suggestion I have then, if we do asphalt or put new asphalt on it, do we want to look at? I want to look to make sure that the farmer would be able to have access somewhere else. Like, do we put a weight limit on that road then?
Who's,
It's Wayne Stumba's land, and I know that's how he accesses that field. So I don't know if there's an access somewhere else. If we would put a
okay, what if we started the asphalt after their field approach?
I think the field approach is all the way down by Kathy's house.
Then couldn't they just go behind the elevator on that road then? No.
I'd have to look. Like I said, I'm not quite sure what the field approach is. I'm just bringing up all the concerns I have. If we
Yeah.
put all the money down there, and then all of a sudden they start having grain trucks on there constantly.
Well, and that's a problem still on First Street.
Yeah.
With the dairy still going through, big trucks, these,
And I was mowing one morning and watched 4 Von I trucks go straight down Second Street. But
So, like as you can see, I mean, if we would want to do,
what's the quote for all of First Street and all of Prospect?
we wouldn't be able to.
Well, that's too much.
Yeah. So then that's why I kind of broke it up. If we wanted to do if we just did everything on First Street, the patches and the overlay, that was going to be $75,000.
That's for the whole,
That's for the whole stretch from the highway to highway.
Yeah.
Which is fairly, I mean, if you look at it when we just did the 3 blocks or whatever, and then overlays.
That was 80.
Yeah. So, but we have the option of, he put in here, the Prospect, doing all of Prospect over there, and then doing the patches
On First
on
Street.
First. That would be
54.
Yeah, 54, so then we still have some more money left over that we could look at. Because just doing the overlay on First Street is 59.
Highway budget.
80.
Yeah, it's 80. I don't know, I felt like we upped it a little bit last year, but I'm not sure. It's in that 80 to 100,000.
So just the patches on First Street is 35. First Street overlay is 60. Prospect overlay is 40.
85.
And
Are you talking?
Prospect Street,
Overlay, are you talking just like what we did out front here?
no,
No, this would be like what we did in front of
in front of my
Michelle's
house.
and over by on Brad's on the cross streets.
The actual asphalt.
Yeah, and lift.
Julie's gonna ask.
Yeah. And on First Street, they would still grind up them that he might, you can probably see, flat or tape up or paint. He painted the spots that he would rip up and then grind it in. So. So I guess that's my question of what out of these two areas, where do as us as a board feel like we should improve first?
Well, I think First Street needs help, whether it's patches or,
Well, we gotta do this map.
Yeah, the
we
patches,
gotta do the
are
patches
no
no
matter
matter what.
So it's just a matter of if you want to overlay first or if you want to overlay Prospect. And then we have the patches on First Street no matter what.
Have we coated Prospect at all? Done a seal coating or anything? Is
No.
it possible that maybe we overlay first and seal coat Prospect?
I don't know if that Prospect is in good enough shape to.
To do that? Okay. I guess my only concern, I would be fine with patching First Street and laying on Prospect, except for the field thing. We have to figure that out before.
Right.
Because we don't want big implements driving over it, and then we need to figure out why or how to get these semis to stay off the roads. Can we
I mean,
table this till? I mean, I know we want to get moving on it too, but
the biggest thing is if we can kind of make an idea of what we want to do, because we still have to get our quotes from the other people just to be.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I just want to like what we've done in the last 3 years is Cole comes in and gives us what he recommends, and then we send out without his prices on it to the other contractors and get our prices. So I guess I can send these out to the other contractors and get prices and just have all of it on there.
Yeah.
And then we can.
Let's do that, and then we can find out about that field approach too.
Well, Jerome, did you do some investigating on weight limits? Do we just need to post weight limits on the?
There's nothing on that road, and that's why I was bringing it up if it's going to be if we're going to have if we want to or not.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. Do we need to
I think we
create
should.
something?
On all of First and Second. Somebody cornered me the other day about Main Street wanting to park their semi. I'm just going to park there for 15 minutes so I can go shower. And I said, no, you can't, because that ruins our roads. And the argument went on and on and on. And I just said, it's not about you parking your truck to shower. It's about the weight. You shouldn't have that weight. It's not the truck route. The semis need to stay on the truck routes. So I think the weight signs would be probably a bonus.
Do we have weight signs around town? I don't think so, but I don't think we have an ordinance.
I think the only place that got a weight sign was for the bridge.
For the bridge, yeah.
There's 6-ton signs on most of the streets.
Are there?
So there is.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, there is on First Street.
On First Street, you come on that, there's a 6-ton. You come off on Third Street, or not Third Street, but Second Street, there's 6-ton limits on that. Up by the school or the swimming pool, or not swimming pool, but the ballpark, there's a 6-ton limit there. They posted all these 6-ton limits when they put the new signs in.
That's what I want.
Can we change it to like 2 tons?
We got the stuff signed off, and it's just a matter of getting it. Getting somebody to take care of it.
What is a car weigh? I don't even know.
Well,
Like a pickup with a trailer. Like if I was pulling a horse trailer, what does that weigh?
We can ask people, but they can't talk to us.
3,000 pounds maybe,
How much is a ton?
2,000.
2,000.
So if we did like 3 ton,
But, yeah, you can't
But then you
basically
gotta wash
take
garbage.
Yeah, garbage trucks.
Oh.
Yeah.
okay,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we'll get these sent out to a few other contractors and get bids back.
Okay.
Try having a decision in the July meeting to get them here, so we can have them here before it gets cold. Moving on, parks. Ball field, there's a tournament scheduled on the 28th for 8U softball down there. Otherwise, there's just practices here and there down there right now.
the QR sign for the camping will be hopefully ready the beginning of next week. So,
Okay. Personnel,
No changes in personnel.
utilities,
No, no.
I have a motion to approve the financial reports.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
I can second that.
Been a motion and a second to approve the financial reports. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I have a motion to approve the bills.
Motion to approve the bills.
Been a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Correspondence. Looks like we have the Moody County Historical Society.
This is something I missed, or? Moody County Historical Society would like to request $500 from the city even for next fiscal year as a nonprofit as a donation.
Did we?
I felt like we didn't give them.
We didn't give
500,
them
but
money
we-
last year.
Yeah, we haven't given them anything. So,
That's up to you. We just got it. Nobody can help that way.
so thoughts on it?
We didn't do it last year, and I think, I don't know,
2 years ago.
I don't
Yeah,
think
we only
gave
gave
them
it
500, but I think we gave them
like
200
200.
or something. Thoughts?
I worry that when we start donating to nonprofits,
everybody.
then we'll have everybody, and our budget is very tight.
Yep.
Not that I'm against helping people, but I would rather, as a board member, go donate my time as a donation to them than money currently.
Yeah, or if it's something like if they come down here and need something or.
Right.
Do that way.
Even means freeze at the community center if they wanted to. do stuff.
Right. I
Yeah.
think there's other ways to make charitable donations without handing out a lot of money.
Next regular city meeting is July 15th, 2026, 6 p.m. So I have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
I'll sign your check.
You want some money?
Eventually.
Eventually.
What was the date on the next meeting?
So, 15.
15, okay, like I said. I heard 26. I heard 26.
Well, so there's golf. Golf
Oh,
is
the altar.
the 28th. It's the 28th. But I thought, Eric was gonna have a
Now that the meeting is full, I have some ideas, so I need to.
cocktail or a bake sale.
Yeah, for the next meeting.
That's what we call it. A farmer's market.
Yeah, her farmer's market is going on
It's to help.
twice a month.
That you guys have.
Twice a month.
I just wonder if they would do better moving it to this area as well. As a Walter, if they get more traffic. I don't
Oh,
know.
baby. I'll message her.
It is. Small suggestion, what should you find about the way? Post office also uses deals to purchase, sell equipment and stuff. So it's local. You have it here, you advertise it, they come get it, you give them X amount of time to come get it. It goes that way. That way you're not dealing with an out of state. Deals is an option.
What's the name?
You guys have heard of that. Deals. Government, famous government.
I knew when you started asking and you were walking away, it didn't work.
Alright, hang on to your chair so you can talk.
You're fine. I don't know if that's something you get want to look into.
Good?
Oh,
Yep, deals like that.
See,
You're asking about sidewalks? Yes.
Yes.